Welcome into the Metal Matters podcast on RoCo Radio. I'm Joe Dexter, and I've got two great guests for you today. We're joined with Chamber President Diane Sawyer of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce and Steve Scott, President of Tri-State Steel. Guys, how's it going?
Phenomenal. Thank you for having us.
Hello, Joe. Hello, my friend Diane. Long time no see.
Yes, sir.
First and foremost, we got to start with, where are you, Steve?
So, last week we were in the warehouse at 2513 Richardson Drive at the Tri-State Steel retail store. Today I am sitting on a forklift in the main warehouse of our wholesale distribution center at 643 Tamco Road, and I'm just chilling in a forklift because that's what steel people do.
I was going to ask you that, if you were sitting in a forklift, because it looked like it.
I will tell you, just so you know, because behind the scenes Tri-State Steel stuff, it is 5:35 on a Wednesday night, and we have been so busy at the wholesale warehouse that our wholesales team and two of our operations people are still in the office trying to put together all the end of the day orders and start routing the 65 plus deliveries we have for tomorrow. And they threw me out. So it's good news, but they're like, we can't be quiet. We got to talk. So out in the warehouse I go, and that kind of tells you everything there is to tell you about Tri-State Steel. One, we're very blessed to be busy. Two, we have really great employees who take responsibility for what they do. And three, my team manages up. They know what they need to do. They don't need me to hover over them. What they really need for me to do is just get out of their way and let them be awesome. And that's the culture that we have. We got a message from a software developer in New York City today who'd spent 2 days with us 2 weeks ago. He's developing software specifically for the metal service center industry, and he wanted to see a small service center in action. So he came down and spent some time with us, and he sent a message today that said, I just want you to know that the culture that I experienced at your company is the culture that I hope to build at mine. It doesn't get a lot better than that. I literally just walked out of the office from sharing that message with all of them, and they just smiled and went back to work like, yeah, that's what we do. That's who we are. So it was pretty cool. And I'm really proud. I am really, really proud of that.
You know, that's a great segue. Culture is a big thing that's going to be taking place at the 14th Annual Business Expo and Job Fair taking place on October 26th. The Reidsville Chamber of Commerce always does a great job of putting that together, presented by Tri-State Steel. Diane, we'll start with you. Your busy time of the year, but that's a big part of this is culture building with the businesses and not only building a community, but providing a space for those businesses to not only collaborate with fellow businesses, but also collaborate with those that will be in attendance. Absolutely,
Joe. Thank you for allowing us to talk about that today. Steve, thank you for having me and allowing us to talk about it. We're so thankful to have Tri-State Steel return as a naming sponsor. Post-pandemic, we wanted to bring back the Business Expo and rebrand it, and we just felt like, as you said, culture is important, and the culture completely changed in Reidsville and all around us globally during the pandemic. And so when we brought this event back, it's always been really important to have the B2B and, allow people to network with each other and find great relationships. But the piece of the community has been the other great piece. But then we found ourselves saying, okay, we can't do a 2-day event. We don't have manpower. We don't have workforce. People need to hire staff. So we got to do a 1-day event. And while we're at it, we've been really successful during the pandemic at hosting job fairs. So why don't we, take this platform that we already have and add that piece to it? So Steve and I came together he agreed to be the name and sponsor, and then we sat down and really mapped out what we wanted for this event. I mean, we talked about everything. I think Steve's probably been one of the most involved sponsors ever, because if you're going to do something, you got to do it Tri-State Steel style. And so, you know, we talked details, like from what time do we start, what time do we finish. You know, people don't stay out as late as they were, so that culture has changed. Like, restaurants aren't open as late. We left the ball field last night, and it was hard pressed to find somewhere to feed the kids because
Right.
everything's closed. And so we're seeing that start to get later and open back up as people are starting to get things under control and new processes and staff. But that's really what it's about, is creating that atmosphere and that culture where people can come in. And I'll let Steve talk about, but he hired people, from that event, and he did interviews on the spot last year, and it was just really phenomenal.
Yeah, Steve, share your impact that it's had on your business and you personally, just seeing it grow throughout the years and seeing the impact it's had growing in our community.
The other day, Diane and I had an opportunity while talking about the forum as we were promoting it, and we told a story of, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago. And my very first experience with the business showcase was when my daughter Grace was working with the Hotbots 2640 Reidsville High robotics team, and the event was held at Plastic Revolutions. And we thought back then, and I think Diane would agree with me, that, hey, we're doing something. This is a big event, and this is really exciting, and we're putting people on the map. And I remember those kids going to those businesses and promoting their robot and showing it off and raising money and ultimately competing for a world championship, which was really fantastic. Great experience. And I looked when Diane came to me and said, I'd really like to do this, but we really are limited on our funds. We really need a sponsor. I was like, okay, this time last year, we'll do this, no problem, but we have to do it right. Like, we have to make sure that we're re-energizing what it means to be together. And last year at this event, we were singing and dancing, and people were engaged and interacting. And I think when she says, if you're going to do something with Tri-State Steel, you have to do it the Tri-State Steel way, I just smiled at that so much, because that's what we want. We want to share the energy. We want to be the leading edge energy. We want to be the first booth. We want to be the people who set the tone for what it means to engage. And we're really good at it. And I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of it. We work hard at it. And so we want the community to come out and be excited, and the vendors know. We've had 2 or 3 meetings with the vendors already. Diane's got a great group led by Jennifer Lester who are putting this show together. Everybody knows that this is going to be a high energy, exciting, fun event for the community. And that's what building culture is. That's what being leading edge energy is all about. So we're really excited about it. And last year we did have a very successful hiring campaign from this event. As a matter of fact, one of the young ladies that I was just speaking to about everything that's going on is one of the salespeople that's still in the office right now working, that we hired at this event last year. So completely full circle right there. It's pretty cool.
Diane, for me, it's engagement leads to new opportunities, whether you're a sole proprietor like me, a one-man business, or you have a business like Steve where you need employees. It's an opportunity where if you engage, if you do what is best for you, it's going to be the best for everybody. It's that energy that Steve was talking about.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about how you're going to engage. It's one of the reasons we have the vendor meetings. I encourage people to put their table at the back of the booth and to step forward and engage with their community, to do games and activities and provide something that's going to, draw people in. And the idea behind all of this, I mean, we're going to have flu shots. We're going to have the bookmobile. We're going to have resume help, The PTRC and NC Works are bringing the job bus. We're going to have food trucks, and we're going to have just all of these opportunities. We're going to play bingo, which is going to be great because the vendors can do it, but so can the general public. And the community can come in and they can learn about our nonprofits and our organizations and our businesses and our folks. And so, whether it's somebody like you, Joe, or somebody like you, Steve, the idea is that you guys, Steve's really big on community and engagement and supporting the community. And it was at the Chamber where I introduced him to Justin Deal, who was the general manager for the Reidsville Luckies, and said, Steve, you got to know this guy. He's the upcoming manager. And I know how supportive you've been of the Luckies, but we're going to take it next level, right? We're going to take this next season. And we did, all of us together had our pieces. And I think it was tremendous what came about there. And then those are the kinds of relationships and things that happen on exponentially, to the 100th level at the Expo, because there are all these people and all these ideas, and people are like, oh, I don't know them. Can you introduce me? Or I'll introduce myself. And so there's all these opportunities for people who are looking for sponsorships, looking for corporate partners. If you are looking to, we've got this great setup here where, Steve's got a podcast or a show with you, Joe. There are other people who should be doing shows. And so, it gives us the opportunity to do that. But then my favorite piece. So at the Chamber, I say that we are all about relationships. And if nothing else, we are all about relationships. We build relationships. We connect people. That's what we do. We are champions for our community, both on the business side and in the general community. We want to build our community. And so we have this opportunity at an event like this to connect people, because every day they drive around town, through town, to school, to the grocery store, but they pass these businesses, they pass these industries, they pass the retail store. And Steve has made it to where they don't ask who are they and what they do, because he's telling them. But everybody else is not good at telling their story. That's what this event is about, because I feel like it's our job at the Chamber to educate the community about our businesses, our industries, our organizations. We want to keep our young people here. We want them to know that we make baby wipes. That if you are buying baby wipes anywhere, you probably are getting them from Reidsville, North Carolina. If you buy a Ford F-150 or I forget the series of a BMW, the parts were probably made in Reidsville at Hennigas Automotive. There are so many things that happen in our young folks or our regular adults, even within our own school system, they're not telling their story well. And Dr. Stover and I've had that conversation. That's his vision, is that Rockingham County Schools is telling their vision, telling their story better. They're going to be at the event, and they have the opportunity to tell all of the positive and good programs and things that are happening while also trying to hire more people. So it's the coolest, most unique thing that happens in a community, or that's put on by a chamber. It's been around forever. It's not new. But we've made it new. We have, like Steve said, we brought the energy, we freshened it up. We tried to bring it to 2022 and now 2023. Where are we? It's not just a ho-hum event. We're going to have a pumpkin carving contest. We are having costumes, and it's a Halloween thing. Treat yourself to new opportunities. And as Steve said, Jennifer and the committee for the Business Expo, they've just thought of everything. We're going to have all kinds of fun.
It's taking place October 26th, 2 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Reidsville Christian Church, 2020 South Park Drive. And Steve, I'll let you finish your thought there.
Yeah, really quickly, to kind of jump on Diane's community and engagement thing. Last year, Reed's Computer Service had a booth, and they were doing some of their security camera work. And so they had a camera up, and it was grabbing people as they walked by, and it would identify them as they walked by and track them as they went by. And it was really cool. At the same time that was happening, right across the hall from Chris's booth was Tri-State Steel's TV set up, and we were live streaming the operations of Tri-State Steel at the Expo via Chris Reed's security cameras, because all of our facilities have installed security camera work all done by Reed's Computer Service. Well, it says Reed's Computer Service. It doesn't say Reed's security camera stuff. And so Chris was able to use the showcase last year with our partnership, and we were able to show people, hey, this is what you can do if you hire Reed's Computer Service. Tri-State Steel is literally live streaming their operations right now with 24 different cameras that are provided by Reed's Computer Service, and you can watch them. I could be in Istanbul watching Tri-State Steel's operations if I wanted to, all because of Chris Reed and Reed's Computer Service. That's the kind of cool networking stuff that goes on.
And I will just tell a story about that to piggyback. I actually finally pulled the trigger and got the board on the board. Pun intended. We finally got our system installed too. So we now are fully equipped with Reed's computers. We just felt like it was important for our tenants as much as our members in the community that we protect that building and the tenants that are inside and our staff. So after watching Steve's operations, I was like, I can't stand it anymore. Like, we've got to get this done. So we finally pulled the trigger, and now you'll be able to see our stuff at the expo. It's really cool.
How much the Reidsville Police and Rockingham Sheriffs appreciate your company. Those services. I know that the Chamber cameras were used to solve a crime, and we've been open 7 months at the retail store, and we've already been involved. Our cameras have already identified vehicles in 3 different criminal activities. So when the police department know you, that same community, right here, we have an opportunity to engage. When the first responders know you by name and you help them, they are really apt to help you back. And it's all about that relationship building that Diane's talking about.
Diane, I want to talk a little bit before we leave about the job fair aspect of the expo.
Yeah, so really cool. Couple of things that are happening. We will have little Steely McBeam logos if folks are participating. So if the vendor has a Steely McBeam, you will be able to approach them and find out. So we're going to have people doing paper applications, people doing computer applications. We have a QR code that folks can scan and go online and get every single vendor that is a chamber member. They will be able to click on the QR, they'll be able to scan the QR code, and it takes them to the website, and all of the vendors are listed with all of their websites and emails and contact information. The job fair piece, also, people will be doing on-site interviews. We have the job fair bus, which can put you into our local NC Works office, put you into their system, and they can help you get a job. We're going to have staffing agencies all over the place. It's just going to be awesome. And for people who are really looking for a career change, and I have seen people that I know personally who've said they're interested in coming. So I really do hope there's going to be some connections made.
It's the Reidsville Business Expo and Job Fair number 14, brought to you by the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce and Tri-State Steel Metal Products. Guys, I want to thank you for joining us here on Metal Matters Podcast on RoCo Radio. Steve, be careful on that forklift, please.
I am forklift certified, Dexter. You do not need to worry. I've got this.
All right, guys, take care, and thanks for joining us here on the Metal Matters Podcast.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.